Ice Spice, Bikini Bottom. Every time I listen to Ice Spice, I feel like a bad bitch. I hone my inner bad bitch, Bash, and every time I listen to Ice Spice, the I'm telling you, she's the next one up in the game right now,
especially for New York.
especially for New York. Okay, I'm proud of her. I'm proud to see her shining right now. Okay, it's like Kendrick Lamar, who, J Cole, what, Big Sean,
All
where?
right, we don't
It's
gotta
all
get straight
Ice
there,
Spice.
but we'll get into
Okay.
her later today. No, for sure, for sure.
But anyways, welcome to Black Seinfeld, people. This is the show about nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
It's the one and only Trinidadian Panamanian Poppy Rude Boy Top Gunner Sakpanya Mada Giovanni Anglin. Hello, everyone.
What's going on, folks? It's Bashing this recording live from LA. Geo is in Brooklyn, New York. What's going on, folks?
And if you enjoy this show, Black Seinfeld, the show about nothing, please subscribe to us on all of our podcasting platforms. We're available on Spotify, Apple, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, Audible, Podomatic,
Google.
Pandora, Google, everywhere where RSS feeds are available. If you don't know what an RSS feed is, basically like it's like your IP address for podcasts. Okay, once you have that, your podcast can be spread throughout the internet, throughout all of the podcasting platforms. That's what a an RSS feed is.
Oh, quick
And so,
thing. You know,
yeah, sure.
so I've used multiple podcast platforms before, and I always thought in my mind that they were the same. That's not true. I think something like Apple knows how to change the market. They know like what you're into. They give you some nice algorithms in order to try something new. Especially if you listen to a lot of hip hop shows, like Questlove Supreme, for example. So, oh, you like this show too. I've been using Google Podcasts because it's more organized for me when I need
Mm,
to like put one,
okay.
two, three together. But it only works if you know what you want to listen to. If I'm trying
Right.
to find something new, Google Podcast is not the spot for it. I think I had to go back to Castbox for that because I was finding like fun, interesting podcasts through Castbox. But it's the same top 20 that you would see on
Right.
Google that I thought was pretty interesting about podcast algorithms.
What is the podcasting platform that Most Def and Talib Kweli use? Do you know that one? Do you
I
remember the
do
name?
not know that one. It's not like I
I
refuse to listen to it. It's just like you have to pay.
Right. Exactly. There's a paywall to it, and that's why I didn't want to listen to the latest Black Star album is because of that.
Yeah.
But also, if you guys want to hit us up at all, please go to blackseinfeldny@gmail.com if you want to leave a comment, if you want to just shoot us a message, if you want to send us any music, if you dare, please do it on that. But also, we're available on social media as well. So follow us on the Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Black Seinfeld NY. Bastion, how you doing, man? I haven't seen you in a week.
Yeah, I've been doing not too bad. Just came back from a quick trip
Mm.
yesterday, but I'm back in LA. It was pretty
Oh
interesting.
shoot. Where was this trip at?
Queens, New York.
Oh, word. So you came home and you ain't saying nothing, huh? See, this is what I'm talking about, Bastion. You see this, ladies and gentlemen, this guy, he comes back home, he says nothing. He doesn't say, "Hey, G, I'm in town for a couple hours. Wanna ditch work or anything?" No, he ain't even do that.
You're gonna ask why I didn't say anything?
Well, of course. Why was this a business trip or something, or
No,
just
it was just my mom's birthday. I just wanted to swing by. I didn't say
oh,
anything to
nice.
anybody because last time I
Yeah, of
did, I
course.
was pretty much out every single day.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, fair enough.
but I was there. Came in Friday. Left yesterday. Arrived around 3 p.m. yesterday, West Coast time. And one thing that's interesting that I noticed, my flight from, and this is something I was told recently, the winds blow from like, I guess, west to east. So if you're flying from California to New York, it's much faster. It was like a 5 hour flight, mad easy, no problem for me. But because
Yeah.
you're flying against the wind, it's going to take longer. So it was like maybe a 6 hour, 15-minute flight. And I felt like dreadful for the last hour.
It also depends on the kind of plane that you're flying on too. That reduces the time as well. I don't know if you
Interesting.
know that.
No, I
Yes.
did not. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think we flew over Michigan, then went straight to LA, and I was like, "What's going on?" I felt like it added an extra hour to it. It was
I remember one time I had a flight over to Atlanta from New York, well, New York to Atlanta, and going to Atlanta, it was like about 2 hours plus, at least like good 2.5 hours, right? And then going back from Atlanta to New York, because we were on a different plane, we were on like a jumbo plane. We were on a jumbo jet, basically. I kid you not, we made New York within like an hour and 30.
Interesting.
Like killed another hour. It was fast. As soon as we got up, I remember all the flight attendants were starting to pass out the drinks and stuff. I didn't even get my drink. That's how fast we were. That's how fast we got there.
Ah, okay. That makes sense because it does take like 20, 10, 20 minutes to get to a certain altitude in order to start
Yes.
the drinks and snacks. Then everybody's like, all right, time to sit down and get ready for landing.
That's exactly what happened.
Very interesting. Learned something new today. So yeah, I just chilled in New York a little bit, stayed home. It's always so surreal living in another state than going home. And it's like, yeah, I used to live here like a
Yeah.
whole 29 years, but I'll say 28 years. So
Hmm.
it was kind of weird being in my room. And now I'm looking at everything different because my current job has to deal with a lot with colors and like what was I say, internal design
Hmm.
in terms of housing. So I'm looking at my house like, wow, like this is a really good 1920s house. This is built very well. I want to knock down these walls. So it's kind of funny, just look like having respect now because you understand where the housing market is and how
Yes.
these houses that are built post pandemic are using like the cheapest parts. So and are all jobs too. So not that's something interesting. Just looking at my house, like you know what, I don't hate this house that much actually.
But it's also interesting to see where the housing market is now, especially for people of our generations, because we're not really buying houses like that. We're not really having children like that. All we're doing is like we're having children, but it's not ones that's walking on two legs. It's actually just four-legged creatures. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to the government, y'all. Y'all getting mad at us because we're not populating we're not repopulating America, but we don't we too busy stressed out with trying to get some eggs. Damn it! All right, the egg market is going crazy right now. Okay, I'm starting an underground egg selling business. That's how crazy it's been. And you want me to have a kid right now? Absolutely not.
you know,
No, sirree.
you know how weird it is. There is this Boy Meets World episode that I bumped through my algorithm on YouTube, where Corey and Topanga they're married and they need to stay at the parents' house, like they wanted to kind of live home in order to get their
Yeah,
life together. And the dad's kind of yelling at them, like, "No, this is what it is. You're against the
right.
issue." Then kick them out the house. It's like that can't swing by in 2020. Like, well, shoot, so
Absolutely not.
2008, we could say a lot of people came back home
Yeah.
because of like they lost their house, they lost their jobs, and they just needed a place to rebuild. There's a Michael Moore documentary, if you remember.
Is
Um,
it 11/9 or 9/11?
no, no, I love capitalism. I love you, capitalism. I forgot what it was called.
Then I haven't seen that one. Then
I got to look it up before.
yeah, yeah. Look it up.
Oh, it's capitalism, a love story.
Oh, interesting.
You,
I have not seen that
really, you
one.
never saw that one? Yeah, I recommend
No.
checking that one. Capitalism Love Story focuses on people's lives post 2008, where a lot
Mhm.
of things changed. You could say we're kind of going like what we're going through right
Kind of
now with the
second
layoffs,
coming. Yeah.
but it was worse back then because people's lives were destroyed and the government didn't do anything to kind of support people. They more focused on big business and bailouts. There's no businesses that need to bail out now. They just want to incrementally save money.
Right.
So that's why they're laying off 5 to 7% of their workforce. But we spoke about that last week.
That's
So
right.
check it out on our podcast. We also have a website, blackseinfeld.com. We're also on YouTube at Black Seinfeld as well. Before we start the show, we want to make a quick announcement. And I think Gio's the
Yes.
best person. I wrote it on the list. I see you
I'm the
skipped
best
it. And
person.
I think Gio's the best person to discuss what's going to happen. Gio, let people know what Black Seinfeld is going to do for the month of Black History.
Well, hey everyone, it's me, Gio, and Bastion has basically just thrusted this position onto me. So hey,
You
I
got
got,
us here. You got to take us home. You know what I
I
mean?
got
You
us.
got us
Well,
here. You got to take us home, right? You got to
I'll do it.
complete the
Fine.
pitch. Seventh inning, Hey, you could do 2 more innings and you're good.
Okay. So, um, when when we came here in WBAI back in 2017, we were 22, 23-year-olds, right? And we've had a lot of opportunities to grow as performers, as personalities, as a show, and we thank WBAI for that opportunity of taking a chance on two just punk college kids who just graduated from college. But there's a time in a person's life where it's time to grow and time to move on in life and try and pursue different things within the realm of nothingness. And I'd like to formally announce to all of our listeners tuning in on 99.5 FM WBAI New York and WBAI.org on the web that February 22nd will be the last episode of Black Seinfeld on WBAI.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be going anywhere in the podcast stratosphere. We'll just be saying goodbye to WBAI, our home for the past five, almost
Yeah.
6 years.
5 to 6 years. We recorded on air and off air in the studio in Brooklyn. And
Yes.
Yeah. And we're making our move outside. It's not like we're going to move to another radio station. We're not doing that.
No, we're not going to do that.
Keeping it independent the same way, keeping the same energy as WBI, but we're just going to keep it independent for now on. And
Exactly.
Yeah. February 22nd.
Don't worry, it'll be more emotional. It'll be more emotional on the 22nd, I promise.
Yeah.
I'll try and cry and all that stuff. But for now, we're just letting you know now, February 22nd. Well, technically, since it's a Thursday now, February 23rd will be the last formal episode of the WBAI era, if you will, of Black Seinfeld. So yeah, I'm done bashing.
All right.
Let's talk about you now. No, let's talk about you now.
Well, what about me?
You don't like chicken.
All right. What do we want to talk about?
You don't like chicken, sir. Okay, this is Black History Month. All right, we've had a discussion prior of you not liking mac and cheese, which was like a huge red flag here, right? And now I've learned people Bastion. That's right, our Bastion, because of course Black people, we are a monolith. Bastion has not enjoyed chicken until the age of 16.
All right, some context here. Gio sent me a video of a vegetarian trying out meat for the first time, and it seemed to look to me like it's Buffalo Wild Wing chicken, right?
But he was in full euphoria, though.
He was in
after
full
his first bite.
He's in full great reacting video euphoria. Okay, he's a great reactor. That's what I like to say on camera. I told Gio, in my experience being a vegetarian for a very long time, the first time I tried chicken was when I was 13. And if you're trying something new, especially at 13, it's like, wow, this tastes like something. But it's not euphoric. It's not mind-boggling change. Yes, it was a big switch from tofu, eating tofu type meals and soy stuff onto eating chicken for the first time. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Yeah. This is cool. I couldn't say this was this was excellent, this was a life-changing experience. I couldn't tell you at the time. But years, every now and then I eat another chicken meal. And by the time I was 16, that's when I fully actually do enjoy it. And that's why I was telling Gio, it's not like I was eating it every week. It was probably once every 3 months. It was chicken. Remember, like my mom's doing all the cooking, right?
Right.
Mom's doing all the cooking, so she's not cooking it every single week. It's like once in a blue moon. If my aunt gives her like a pack of chicken because she went to Costco, my mom will cook it. And then, 15, having it in like September or whatever on a random day. By the time I was 16, it became a regular dish in the menu. And eating it regularly, that's when it tastes good. And for a while, it's like barbecue chicken is the only thing that tastes good. Then switch it up, then there's like a million one different styles of chicken because of multiple cultures. You just gotta ask your friends about it. A lot of my friends are from Bangladesh, so point me on different directions. And then you get older, then you try other stuff outside your mom's cooking. So I just wanted to clarify, and
Okay. Gotta clear your head. Yeah, good.
the chef wasn't cooking it, so it wasn't that great. Same thing for steak. Hey, I said before, Gio put me on steak.
Did I?
Yeah, you took me to the spot. You said you got to eat it medium rare. Del Frisco's, was it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, I did. I said medium. You can do medium rare, but I'm still not about that life. My stomach can't handle it.
Okay, I realized my stomach can't handle it either. All right, so
Yeah.
I've done it like 3 times last year, and I had a
Yeah.
problem each time. I was like, okay,
Hmm.
I didn't know. I thought I was just allergic to it. Then I had it like in the
Oh
stew, and
man.
I was good. So medium rare, I cannot handle it.
Can't sorry all of you steak connoisseurs out there. I can't handle medium rare. I know I'm weak. We're weak, but hey, I'm good with medium. Medium is cool. Medium should be like, the bare minimum. All right. The bare minimum, medium. All right. Don't come for us because listen, our stomachs just reacts to medium rare. It's just like you're not that white, bro. Like relax. Take it easy. Take it easy.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked myself, but yeah, Black History Month. I do respect chicken. Like Gio said, black people are monolith. But to be honest, every culture has something to do with chicken. I thought
Absolutely.
that was
It's cheap.
one line that The Simpsons said right. It's like, some people can't eat beef, and some people can't eat pork, but we all love chicken.
That's right. Because
Which,
chickens are dumb and they're cheap.
yeah, and that's why we're having the egg crisis. But anyways, let's talk about something else that's happening this month. It's going to be Super Bowl
Yeah.
57. I wrote the number right. I guess I took it off. It's Super Bowl number 57, if I recall. And it's
Correct.
happening February 12th. Kansas City Chiefs versus Philadelphia Eagles. Who are you for, Gio?
I am for the Kansas City Chiefs. Normally, whenever the Super Bowl comes around, I always say the same thing. I do not care about the Super Bowl. I don't care who wins because A, the Giants are not in the Super Bowl, so I don't care. And B, I'm not even in it for the commercials anymore because let's be honest, Super Bowl commercials suck nowadays.
I disagree. I think last year was pretty good. I think I spoke about it
Uh,
last year.
Yeah, we did talk about it. You enjoyed the old LeBron talking to the young LeBron in a promotion for crypto.com. You said that.
Oh, it
I
was
remember.
crypto.com. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's,
yeah, you
it was crypto.com, not the other one, FTX, that got destroyed.
No,
And
no, 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 not FTX.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't really care much about the commercials anymore. I only care about the halftime show and whether the game is just good or not. That's about it. But this case is very different because
Oh, before we continue, it's like Larry David had the FTX commercial, which was really good
yeah,
too. And as we know, FTX, we had many episodes about it this year, last year. Uh, yeah, LOL. Anyways, we're gonna say,
I was going to say that this year is a bit different because the big op is in the Super Bowl. That's right. I'm talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, major rivals of the Giants. So since the Eagles are in the Super Bowl, I do not want the Eagles to win. So I am pulling for the Chiefs on this one. That is it. That's the only reason why. What
hey,
about you, Bastion?
I'm with you. I'm with you all the way. Nothing
Okay.
against Philly Eagle. Phillies and New Jersey. That's their team. I'm a New Yorker. Got to stand by the Giants. Even like I know Jets will never win anything the way that team is built. But if let's say the Jets go to the Super Bowl, we'll root for the
Yeah.
Jets. No problem.
I'll root for the Jets. Why not?
Yeah, no problem. But as you said, Giants got knocked out by the Eagles pretty badly,
Yeah.
and it was a sad sight to see. But it's going to be an exciting um, Super Bowl. Two black quarterbacks. It's going to be pretty interesting. One thing
Yes, for
that
the
I
first time ever.
first time ever. One thing I did not expect was to see pictures. I'm in New York. I'm chilling. See pictures of the Empire State Building using green, white, and a little bit of yellow on the top of the building. Gio, how do you feel about that? As someone that pays attention to New York culture and football, how does that make you feel?
That made me feel disgusted, Bastion. It really hurts. It still hurts to this day that the Empire State Building will go out their way to plaster the Eagles color on New York soil like that. After everything we've ever been through with the Philadelphia Eagles, how it's like the Red Sox winning the World Series and then posting up Red Sox colors on the Empire State Building. It's just disrespectful. It's disheartening. And then for the Empire State Building to come out and make jokes about this on Twitter, you can tell this is why we need to gatekeep New York again. This is why we need to kick this gentrification because whoever's running that account is clearly not from New York and they're definitely from Philly, and that's why we need to kick these people out.
The
I'm
Philly
sick of
intern.
this. Like, it had to be some Philly intern
Got in New
because
York.
I can't
Yeah,
I
relatives
can't
in New
rock
York he's staying with. So
exactly, and I can't rock with that. Okay, it's just disrespectful. It's one of the most disrespectful things you can do here. Okay, it's like order a sandwich the Aki way. What else? Ask for a deep dish pizza here, and then plaster your rival team's colors on the Empire State Building in that order.
it's a sign of disrespect. It's like your op kind of.
Ultimate disrespect. It's like creasing your Tims. Like, what are you doing?
I kind of thought that because there's an application to change the colors for the Empire State Building. Like I think random people have access to it. Anybody could have access to it. But on certain days, the Empire State Building controls the type of lighting that's on the building. So I thought that maybe someone was playing with the app, but it was real. People thought it was fake. People asked for images. People living different angles. And I also want to shout out to the people that live in like a Windows vicinity, like clearance to the Empire State Building. It's kind of wild to me.
I got money.
Well, it could be just angles. You could be in the Bronx and you just have a slightly good angle.
Oh, that too. It's either you live in a rent controlled
or like
apartment.
Astoria. Well, that's
you got
pretty far.
money.
You know what? Rent control. I think most of these are rent control.
Yeah,
Empire State Building's pretty
yeah.
far.
Absolutely. It's either you live in a rent controlled building, you got money, or that's it.
Or you're living above your means.
right. Or you just work within the vicinity that's close to the Empire State Building.
That too.
Because my mom, she used to work at Rockefeller Center, so she would able to be seeing when the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree would light up, or when they would put up the ice rink. She was able to see all of that stuff from her office window. So
That'd be very
it's one of
interesting
those.
to see, actually. Because it
Yeah.
just pops. It just appears. Next thing you swing by the city, the ice rink is up for like 2 months, I think. But,
2 months? It's definitely more than two
More than
months.
2
It has to be
months?
like around November they start putting all that stuff up, and then it's done like around
March, February.
March, April, whenever it gets really warm, whenever it gets warm-ish outside. So I want to say April, but it really doesn't get warm until I want to say like May, the end of May.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, man. And then in other football news, Tom Brady is deciding to retire again. Um, it doesn't hit the same anymore because last season he tried to retire and then that lasted all of 20 days. So um, I would say good things about it, but no, it's sort of ruined because again, you came back right after. So my final thought is just stay away this time. That's it.
It's funny.
Just stay away.
My dad told me that stars tend to retire twice. The first time they retire, the second time their body tells them to retire. And I do think it's the second time. I always felt like he would retire twice, and which he did. There's one way to
Absolutely.
announce it, but I was kind of hoping he'll take like a whole year, then come back. That would be like the best way to do it, but it's fine. It's fine.
Well, I think
Mhm.
I think the reason why he decided to retire again was because the poor performance of the Buccaneers this year, but also the fact that he gambled his marriage away too for football. See, it would have been different if Tom Brady went out on top, like he said, "Yo, forget them kids, forget this marriage. Like I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna win me another Super Bowl." If Tom Brady does that, then like he cemented himself greatest of all time. I mean, he's still one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, if not the greatest quarterback of all time. But if he just think about it, just think about it, Bastion. Tom Brady goes to the Super Bowl for the 15th, right? Yeah, 15th. Um and he wins the Super Bowl? Like that's just Tom Brady would be the GOAT. Like I gave up my marriage, I gave up everything for football and look at this. Like, come on. That would have been crazy. That
Yeah,
would have been insane.
yeah.
Like there would have been no debating after that. Like, okay, Tom Brady's the man. I can't deny it. You can't deny it.
I might have
It's
to
it's
disagree
undeniable.
because what a gambler rolls, right? Wins, lose, wins, lose. And on his last roll, it's like, yo, this is it. This is your last dollar, right?
Yeah.
And you're all right, fine. You go big, you roll, you win. You're going to keep rolling. And that's what he did. He kept rolling. He won. I'm going to keep rolling. I'm going to try with another one. And then, of
Yeah.
course, you lose all your money. Then you go home like, damn, I should have just quit.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Life is a gamble too. So it's not like he saw the risk of losing his marriage. It's just like maybe they did have that conversation. Definitely not privy to it. This is all gossip and
Absolutely.
media. I'm not really talking for a man like I like him or anything, but it's always interesting to grow up with a superstar.
Yes.
Seeing a superstar beat teams that are just in like the most embarrassing way,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really hard to go to the Super Bowl, let alone like winning. So
Exactly. And you
yeah,
have to think about this too, Bastion. Tom Brady has made 10 Super Bowl appearances, right? And he's won seven of them. So that means this man has like a 70% clip rate of being successful in the Super Bowl as well, right? It's not easy to do that, as you said, because it's not like baseball, it's not like hockey, it's not like basketball where there's like a best of seven series. You only get one game and that's it. There's no best of five or anything like that. No. You get one shot, one opportunity, and that's it. And for Tom Brady and his teams at the time to go in and win seven of those out of 10, that's an incredible feat that not many people can do. And so, I put him up there with the sociopaths of our time known as Michael
Jordan,
Jordan,
yeah.
Kobe Bryant. I put him on that stratosphere because you have to have a different type of mentality
Ball is
to,
life.
to be that great. Okay. We've seen Tom Brady lose his crap on the sideline, throwing iPads and throwing his helmet around and cussing at his teammates. Okay, we've seen that side of Tom Brady. All right, so I respect him. Despite everything. Okay, despite everything that Tom Brady has done, despite the Deflate Gate, despite him being a Patriot, and despite hell even losing twice to my New York Giants. Okay,
Yeah.
I still respect that man. All right. So when he came back again, I'm like, Tom, like this definitely takes away from the legacy a little bit. But so you have to win. You
It's
gotta
it's
win this.
perfectly fine to have the L's in your legacy. You see it all the time from like
Yeah,
Tony Parker
I
going
know.
to Charlotte, the Hornets, like in his end of
I
the
know.
career. It's like,
Yeah.
why would he? That looks weird. Why didn't you just retire as Spurs? Then Michael Jordan coming back to the
I agree.
Wizards, then buying the Bobcats, then whatever he did with the Bobcats, it's still messing up his legacy to this day. But it's fine in my opinion. We're going to continue seeing him in some form. I hope it's not announcers. I hate when superstars become announcers.
He's
Like
an analyst.
he's
He,
an
he already gets
analyst.
paid to be he already gets paid to
Oh,
be an
like
analyst.
a sideshow type thing, like when Kobe had
Yes.
the ESPN show for like six
Yes.
minutes. Okay, that
He's an NFL analyst already.
all right.
So and he gets paid a lot of money to do that.
Of course, it makes sense. I'm just reminded by the Super Bowl 51st when they faced Atlanta and they beat them in overtime, and that was like the most embarrassing thing is Atlanta was up, and that was kind of
Right.
when I was watching. It's like it's back 2017. I'm like, wow, this is what superstars do. Superstars win.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you guys, this is finished. Your offense is terrible. Your defense is not doing anything. Then it was just a turnaround. So,
Tom Brady was one of the only people that can shut up the internet because when they were down that first half,
also, it was a
all you
very
kept
Black
hearing,
Lives Matter year too.
it was a very Black
So
Lives Matter
everybody
year
was
as well.
rooting for Atlanta. Like it was the
Absolutely.
biggest race war on live television for 3 hours.
Absolutely. And
It,
throughout that first half, everyone was talking the most crap about Tom Brady. Everyone was talking
halftime
like,
show,
oh,
Lady
ha-
Gaga.
bruh, everyone. I remember I turned it off right after the first half, right after Lady Gaga performance, because I'm like, okay, like why am I watching this? Why am I watching this game? It's pretty much over. It's done with. I wake up next morning. Tom Brady wins. Wait, what?
Oh wow.
How did this happen?
I really thought it was over after Lady Gaga drone performance. Drones. But anyways,
That was the time.
it was a time. It was a different time. But it's okay. Like I said, superstars tend to retire twice. They retire and then their body retires them, and this is what we're seeing. So Tom Brady going out this year, perfectly fine. His legacy is still sealed. The book would have ended a little bit better, but we've seen it before. Every superstar tends to overstay. They're welcome.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That is.
but some superstars are just in like a crappy situation. And I'm just pointing out to Gio's favorite team, the Lakers. LeBron James just in a terrible Lakers team, but he is playing the best basketball ever. Shoot, averaging like 36 points a game, insane.
And he's 38.
He's
Exactly.
38. He's doing some insane feat. So I just gotta,
Hey,
there's a lot of
hey,
superstars
man,
today.
how's that Knicks game, by the way, against the Lakers? How's that? Did you see it?
Yeah, Coach Tibbs, he just coached the Lakers into winning against the Knicks. Insane. Yeah, I need that man out. All right, I need the
Oh
man
man,
out
y'all
by.
want
I need that man out by. What? When's the superstar weekend? Like,
isn't it this month?
yeah, it's this month. Maybe like maybe after the Super Bowl. The weekend after the Super Bowl should be the All Star. I need that man out by then. Okay, out.
Wait, so I've been seeing the Knicks streets. I've been seeing y'all a bit upset with Coach Thibodeau.
Not upset. We need him out since last season.
Well, what happened? I'd like to know because I thought y'all were very complimentary of Tibbs in the beginning for the turnaround that the Knicks were having, going to the playoffs and things of that nature. What happened?
The best way to describe Tibbs is he has some good ideas. The problem is his ideas have been the same since Derrick Rose era, right? He ran Derrick Rose to the ground, so he's doing the same thing with his team. This current team right now, he's only doing a 9-man rotation, even though we have 2 or 3 other players that could also play on the bench. From the bench, it helps everybody with rest time because when you run down one of your favorite players, by the time you get to the playoffs, they're kind of exhausted. They won't say so because it's like a physical game, but they're kind of exhausted. So that's the problem we're having with the Knicks right now. When you have Randall playing all these minutes, and then we get to the fourth quarter and he's playing like crap, like, yeah, because he's exhausted. Give Obi Toppin like 8 of his minutes and let Obi play like a good 17 minutes. Then we have a more refreshed Randall by the fourth quarter. But Knicks are terrible in the third quarter, and we're not that clutch in the fourth. But luckily we have Brunson, who's been saving our butts and behinds many times. But I could just tell you, and everybody should know, even Mike knows, right? Intern Mike. The last play that we had, Brunson did an excellent play to get a offensive, not rebound, a foul. So it was the Knicks' opportunity to score with 4.5 seconds left. For some reason, they designed a play where Brunson would take out the ball and pass to Randall, and Randall did nothing for those 4.5 seconds. That's what it feels like to be a Knicks player. That's what it feels like to be. The play is simple. Brunson's on fire. Randall is 6 for 18. That means he cannot shoot tonight. That's fine. Make a play where you fake passing it to Randall. Someone outbounds it to, put RG in, pass it to Brunson. Brunson go for the floater or for the 3. I put money on him to make the last shot, not Randall. Not that night. Any other night, yes, but not that night. And that's what it feels like being a Knicks fan. So we're going to get into the first song of the night, the pain of being a Knicks fan, but we're just going to talk about things that are just about renewing and being blank. Tabula Rasa. It's an Earl Sweatshirt song featuring Arm & Hammer. Check it out. And that was Tabula Rasa by Earl Sweatshirt and Arm & Hammer. Sorry. I saw your signal. I think there was 0.5 second delay using Zoom. But
it's okay.
But yeah, Earl Sweatshirt song. What's your thoughts on that song?
It's not for
It
me.
bar for bar is too heavy for you. I feel you, man. It's just not.
Not for me,
Just
man.
just
It's
just go
too
over your
much sea
mind.
moss for me. It's
So
too
it's
much sea moss for me. I'm good.
it's just the most regular schmegular. All right, fine.
This is not regular
It's
schmegular.
regular, man. It's some good
This is
stuff.
not.
It's some good stuff.
This is not Ice Spice.
No, it's not, but it still flows. It still tells the stories come from your soul, all right? Anyways, let's talk about what's been going on
Yeah, man. What's been going on in the world
with the
that has caught your attention
So one of the
this
big
Black History Month?
well, one of the biggest things caught my attention is the pretty much the murder by police but for Tyre Nichols. And this has been on the news this past week.
Of
And
course it has.
I just been pretty much looking about how like CNN talks about it, Fox talk about it, how people talk about it on the news, and seeing how especially like the locals there in Memphis are feeling about it too. Then even learning more about the person Tyre, and it just really, really hits. It hurts. We've seen the story many times before, but this one was a little bit different, and I can say it's
Oh, yes, it
different
was.
because of how quickly things were going for it. So the best way I could describe it, and I hope the listeners like you've been paying attention to see on the news, because I think a lot might change a little bit this year because of it. And the first thing I want to do is talk about like the event timeline, and then pretty much like what was going on and what the media is talking about.
Okay.
So everything that happened to Tyre Nichols, who's let me get my notes up straight, who is a 29-year-old. She will return 29 this year. He's a father of a 4-year-old. He's a FedEx worker, and he died on January 10th. So this was a routine. Well, it was a traffic stop.
As
Where
it always is.
where he was stopped by multiple police cars. And on January 7th, he was pulled over by the Memphis police, where he was stopped, detained, beat up, tased by multiple cops, bruises to the face, body, and chest. EMTs came and they knew nothing. They just watch. Yes, I did watch part of the video, then watch the beating exactly, just saw the before and after. Then he was taken to the hospital, where he died 3 days later on January 10th. Then on January 18th, the DOJ and the FBI announced they're opening a civil rights investigation. And by January 20th, 5 police officers were fired. Now, when I say things are a little bit different, normally cases like this, there won't be any type of suspension or firing for like a couple months. Like it'll take like 2 or 3 months for it to happen, because news cycles tend to work on rolling the dice. That's why when there's missing children reports, there's like missing children goes on every day. I forgot what they say, like every 2 hours, 8 hours, a child goes missing. But like, what child is the one that gets like the Amber Alert on your phone? Which one gets the news coverage on your local news? It kind of works the same way with like police shootings, because I think this in 2022 was like one of the most, roughly 1,100 police shootings. So police shooting at someone and killing them in the year 2022. So all this happened within like 13 days. So the first thing you want to see is when you see the police officers, they're all 5 black men, right? All 5 black men, police officers. And I do find it very interesting where some articles showed them in the police uniform and some showed them in the mug shots. I rather see them in the police uniform, because it shows that these are police officers. Don't try to play that card.
Yeah, no, that's right.
The same Zach Fox card was like, a father of 3, murdered his family, and you're showing a family vacation photo. Like, no, you gotta show me the person, all right? So in this situation, seeing the police officers in the uniform, so it's them. Like, they did this. They are a gang, all right? No matter what state, no matter how they trained, it's a gang, okay? It's a gang with a lot of power, especially in the country where we're pretty much in, as I talked about, Capitalism, a love story. They actually discussed this. This is like also a military state as well. So everything on the way like America is designed and where they're putting their funding and money in, where it's like the armorification, like maybe armyfication or militarification of our police force. That's the word I'm looking for. Um, will bring these type of strategies to the police, and these are regular people that have power, 6 months of training, and you're telling them to go be superheroes. They will be very abusive. Most of them could be bullies, psychopaths. You know, just we said it before many times before. Um,
Exactly.
and the 5 officers were charged with second-degree murder, aggravated assault, aggravated kidnapping, official misconduct, and official oppression. So those were the many things that happened to them, and 2 other police officers were suspended. They were also involved with the killing of Tyre Nichols, and I found it interesting because those 2 other officers are suspended. They're not fired or anything, but they are white. So like this is the person that like they were
You
kind
don't
of
find that suspicious?
low because
You
they're
don't
all
find that suspicious?
investigated, right? It's like take everybody, fire the whole department, all right? Because the person that's the head of the department, she's a black woman officer. She said on the news that she'd never seen anything like this in 30 years, which I call a downright lie, okay?
That's a damn lie.
Like you seen these officers, it's gonna happen once a week, okay? Haven't seen something like this in 30 years. It's insane. So
Of course.
so one of the things that I was saying is like in terms of like I do think something might change a little bit is because this particular unit is called the Scorpion Unit, which
Yeah.
the Memphis Police Department announced was going to be disbanded on Saturday. And what the Scorpion Unit is what is known as a hotspot policing team. They're tasked with
Yes.
flooding crime-dense urban areas in the street with cops in hopes of smothering interpersonal violence. Such units has been popping up across the country in the recent years. Their whole idea is pretty much to bring community shooting down and crime down as well. And I don't really see it happening. There are a couple articles that discuss how these units do work, and most of them are pretty much just they don't work out the way that they think they do. It's pretty much the same as areas that have policing, those hotspot policing units, versus areas that don't have it. So versus having it and not having it, it's pretty much the same type of crime. And I always tell people it's like the core to crime is pretty much like money at the end of the day. So if you're not giving people safety nets, housing, and all this sense of security, if you're not talking about in terms of capitalism and classism, these are going to be the cause and effects that will lead to these type of crimes happening. And the hotspot units is pretty interesting. I sent you an article earlier today about
Yes.
hotspot,
Yes.
and it was discussing how New York has been focusing on adding their own hotspots or even creating more. But then,
Absolutely.
yeah,
From the now, I just want to stress by saying this: I did not vote for our governor in charge, Kathy Hochul, nor did I vote for Led Zeppelin at all either. So I just want to preference that. Gee, you didn't vote. And hey, no, I didn't vote for this. And here's why. Because instead of, well, Governor Kathy Hochul is well aware of the things that are happening right now down in Memphis, Tennessee. But, you know, with her, she has no plans on defunding any police force. And in fact, she wants to continue to fund the police, but also she wants to continue doing the Scorpion unit in the the high inner cities, basically the black areas. She wants to continue doing that. She wants to pour more money within the police force. She wants to pour more money within the Scorpion unit. So
so the Scorpion unit in New York is actually called Give Gun
yes, get
Gun Involved Violence Elimination.
yes.
Focuses on shooting, but grants but guarantees have used resources to tackle everything from drug crime to parole enforcement.
Yes, and statistically, within that article, um, there hasn't been any real difference with the strong implementation of those units within those communities. There hasn't been any real huge differences.
Yeah.
So take that what you will, and plus also add on the fact that what we know about the NYPD and how they can be at times, So just keep that in mind as well too. So do with that what you will. Shout out to you, Kathy Holchel. Again, I did not vote for you. So
Yeah. I would recommend to check out the NYS Focus article called Hotspot Cops Kill Tyre Nichols in Memphis. That's pretty much like the
mm-hmm.
title, written by Chris Gilardi. It pretty much goes in discussion with the hotspot cops and them just being a pretty much like a gang running up on a person. And I did see a local news clipping in Memphis talking about a person that was just stopped by them a couple days before Tyre, and the same situation happened to him where he was driving. They pulled up. They told him to get out the car with the guns out, and he pretty much said like, "What do you need?" It's like ID, and they pretty much it shook him where he did get ready to like call them out, but a couple of days later, this is what happened. So even the person that was telling the story felt like terrible. It's like he could have prevented this, like, but he can't prevent it, man.
There's nothing you can really do, and unfortunately, they have the authority and you don't. And that's the issue as well. When they have the authority, it's gonna be their word against your words, and because they're the one under the oath and all that stuff, um people are automatically gonna choose the side of the police. Unfortunately, that's just how that goes. And I'd like to know, since you've been watching the news coverage of this story, I'd like to know what you've seen the differences were in each news coverage, if you can.
Um, it's interesting because what makes it different is how quickly there's footage in any situation. For a while, they will question what really happened. They want to hear the police perspective, but you have to understand they're getting their news like 13 days. This is like now. They weren't getting it when the shooting happened. They're getting it after the firing happened. And that's when they started focusing and paying attention, where to the point where even the head of the police department is telling people do not protest. I mean, do not do acts of violence in the street and protest and all this type of stuff. So it's pretty interesting to see like what's going on. One of the biggest things I could say is how I won't say like they're not lying. They are questioning the situation. They want to know more what's going on in the background. But I think a lot of people are being sent there because they want to see what's going to pop off. So.
That's fair. One thing I have been seeing on social media is the fact that certain people, palm-colored people, napkin America, they don't understand the fact that we as Black people say this is another racist encounter. And, I see a lot of, the mayonnaise munchers out here basically saying, "Oh, how can this be racist if if the cops are Black? Why is this racist?" And I don't think they understand the institution is racist within itself.
You know what's weird? Like I feel like remember how I think it was like last year or 2 years ago, I would talk about like how country music, like real like down to the ground country music is like anti-police.
Yes, I remember you saying this.
Because even poor white people have the worst situations with other white cops. It's like it's bad. It works on both ends. So it's and also when you look at the stats on who has the most, who are shot the most by police are white people, right?
Yes.
Because the bigger population in the country. So
that's right.
It's always strange when they're talking about like, oh, it happened to each other. It's like, yeah, you can't just say like, oh, they got to work on racial prejudice in the police system. Like there are 5 Black people beating up a Black person and talking about racial prejudice. Like it's not the person's the system that creates the environment for these people to do these things comfortably too. Because if you
Right.
watch the video, and I don't really recommend watching it, I really don't.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
I really don't. But if you could find someone describing it or seeing a article that has a description of it, I recommend reading it. But they're talking about it now, like they accidentally pepper sprayed each other and they're clearing out their eyes. They're talking. It's like, damn, punch them, get them good, because they know it's normal. They know, like, after this person gets beat up, they get sent. Also, the EMT people, 2 EMT people were fired
Good, as they should. I was going to ask about them as well.
because they were
Because
just
why did it
standing
take
there.
so long?
They were,
Right.
no one's talking about taking so long. They were standing there talking before they did anything.
Yikes.
So they were fired for not going for protocol, like not checking on him to see if he was breathing, he was fine, because he was slumped on the police car at the time. So there's a lot that's going on. There's a lot that's going to come out pretty quickly. You can't really. I am very interested to see like what happens, because like I said, this is really different. Where the police officers were fired within 13 days. Well, within even 10 days of Tyre Nichols being killed in the hospital. I don't know, man. It's very interesting to see what's
Remember,
going
you
on.
still black, you damn coons, and you learning that the hard way.
Yeah, it happened. It's like this situation is just worse because for me it even hits hard because he's 29, he's working, he has a son, he's chilling, and he gets pulled over and you're asking what he did because he has no idea what's going on. So like you
Right.
said, these hot spot police are just high energy folks that will just jump on the first thing that they see, and
Yeah.
you're
And it's
giving them
because they
freedom
can.
and law, and you can't.
Exactly.
Blue Lives Matter cannot work with this type of stuff. I don't understand how one could walk around with that type of regalia, but that
It's
that
because they can, Bastion, and unfortunately, there isn't going to be much done about it. I hate to be that person, but I mean, you already see what's happening here in New York with our good governor, Kathy Hochul. She wants to invest more money into the
the
NYPD
the hot spots, yeah.
and the hotspot units. So there you go with that. Um, I nothing will ever change until we have the men in blue come out and say this is wrong, because it's always, oh, we gotta back the blue and da 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 da, but people will always look at y'all a certain way unless you actually come out and say this is wrong and we do not stand for this.
Well, even if they
But
do say they do, but they always trying to create it like it's a separate event, like they're beyond this. Like this doesn't happen all the time. It's not like a week to week episodic thing. It is a culture thing, but when
right.
they talk about like this is, oh man, like I said, then the head of the police department said she's never seen something like this in 30 years. So yeah, because you fired them in 13 days. Any other
You're not
situation, nothing's happening for years. Even maybe the families will take it to court, but we won't hear about it.
right. But and also though, if I think I think other people don't understand this as well. If there are like officers that actually come out and talk about this like freely and willingly, I don't think people actually understand as well what can happen to that person who comes out and say anything, that what can happen to them internally within the force too.
That's why they gotta
That's a
quit.
whole,
They gotta
that's a
quit.
whole nother thing. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a whole other thing
If
too. So
shout out to the police officers that quit after seeing the injustices that happens in their little gangs. Like, best thing to do is to quit, then talk about it. There's really no other reaction. You just quit, and tell people what's going on. But
yeah,
yeah, so yeah, it's very difficult. But I think today they had the funeral, and it was kind of delayed because of the weather situation that's going on in the
of
Midwest and
course.
the East.
Yeah, a lot of the Arctic blast and the snow and the ice, and yeah, man, it's crazy how that's been happening a lot in the Midwest and the South as of late. But here in the Northeast, well, here in the city, we haven't been. It snowed, like we finally got snow, but
It snowed a
it's
little.
it's it's snowed a little. That's it. The snow's gone
Snowed a little.
already.
Gotcha.
But we're gonna get that. that Arctic blast pretty soon. It's gonna be really cold this coming Friday and Saturday, but not to worry, people, because next week it's gonna be back in the 50s.
Back in the 50s. Interesting.
Yeah.
So let's talk about something else real quick. Let's talk about kind of my bread and butter. I know Gio's not doesn't really care too much about this, but I
What's
hope
that?
it's about the DC projects announced by
Oh,
James Gunn.
yeah, whatever.
So I'm very interested to see the direction he's going, and he's going, in my opinion, he's going pretty much the best route. So, Gio, if you were to kind of redo Marvel, would you want to do Marvel the same way, like every single person has their own movie and you go by it individually, or would you just want to work on stories at a time in batches?
Well, would the stories connect with everyone else's stories to make a huger, bigger story as well?
I don't think they necessarily need like the most major event story.
Okay.
But I did okay. So let's say like Avenger will be like like a level C event, right? And then you have
Yes.
Endgame, which would be like a level A. I think they'll be
Yes.
more focused on like C's and B's for like when you're bringing everything together.
Season. Okay. Then I think that would be fine.
So that's the direction they want to go. They want to be more creative in like the superheroes they're showing because they don't want to keep showing the same big three. You know, it's like, all right, we'll still work on them, but if we focus on them, we'll focus on other characters next to them. So something like Paradise Lost, which is takes place where Wonder Woman's from. So you're not getting just her as a character, you're getting other women on that island as a character as well. So you're building more to it because because Wonder Woman, that movie, was straight up garbage. I'm talking about 1984, of course, but the first one too is just not interesting. World War One's just not interesting superhero movie. But yeah, that's kind of one thing they're trying to focus on because they're focused on Superman Legacy, Batman, and also they want to create separate Batman films too, but this time like actually work on something. So like The Brave and the Bold is about Batman and the son Damian. And
Okay.
Damien's probably one of the more interesting Robins out there because he could be his own person. You know, doesn't need
Yes.
like a tragic background story. He is the story.
Well, I think DC has been doing a good job of showing just the Batman world because you have the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, right? And now you're seeing the Matt Reeves, uh, Robert Pattinson Batman as well. They're not in the same universe at all, but different depictions of Gotham. One is taking place in the cesspool known as the Bronx. Another one is taking place over in Europe. You know what I mean? It's two different feels of a story. It's two different. One is rated R, the other is PG-13. Um, One you're seeing like it's sort of like an anti-hero story, like an anti-hero villain arc of the Joker, and then this one you're seeing young Batman in like year two of his Batman project. So I think DC's always showed just different iterations of Batman. I don't think that's going to be an issue. But I do like the fact that they're trying to expand and show different side characters and to get them on a level where fans will care about them because Marvel did that and since you're talking about James Gunn, Guardians of the Galaxy, all right, they basically came out of nowhere and now everyone loves the Guardians of the Galaxy and now it's people love Groot and Drax and Star Lord and Ant-Man is coming out in a couple of weeks, so that's another character. So I'm happy that James Gunn is taking the reins and going down this different route. I'm excited to see what the DC. It's not even called the EU anymore. It's just the DCU now, right?
I think they're still working on it. I forgot
Okay,
what he said, but he definitely wants to expand more on it.
good. Also, since you're talking about the DCU, do you blame The Rock for killing the whole DCEU? I never actually got to ask you that.
Oh, that's very funny. All right, so I'm not like anti The Rock. I'm just tired of The Rock and his character. It's pretty much the same copy and paste.
That's
And
fair.
for him and his ego, and I have no problem with ego. You know, I'm all for the ego. I love people with ego. They're more interesting, right? His ego was too much for that one. because someone made it say like, "Hey, he'll be a great Adam," and it's like Black Adam is like a villain for a
Right.
like 1 hour 45 minute video movie with Shazam. He'll
And
be
he's wanted to be Black Adam for the longest.
his Black Adam should be just a villain for Shazam 3 if that's ever going to happen because that guy's a weirdo. So we're not going to talk about that. Shazam's 2.
Who's a weirdo?
We'll talk. I'll talk to you after the show about this. So
Oh, I have no idea. Okay,
that's perfectly
cool.
fine. So that's kind of where DC fans like me want him to be. It's like, yeah, you'll be great at Black Adam. But to be honest, only in this scene for this movie, and that's it. We don't want anything more. Because Black Adam's is like the bootleg MF Doom. I mean, MF Doom. It's like a bootleg Doom because he is a god and he owns his own country.
Yeah, that's fair.
And he doesn't want to be messed around with. And when he does, things happen. And that's it, right? If they can't even get Doom correct, they will not get you correct. And they didn't get him correct. Not even close.
Here's the thing: you can't make The Rock a villain, though. Like, he's The Rock.
No,
I think that's the issue too. It's like The Rock doesn't want to be a villain.
You can make him a villain. It's all about acting. You have to do something new. I understand The Rock. Wait, he was Scorpion, right?
He was the Scorpion King, yes.
The Scorpion
for like 10 minutes.
But then the Scorpion King movie made him out like the hero,
yes.
Right?
Right, exactly.
Okay,
there you go.
I guess
The Rock was never really like a villain per se.
I don't see him as a villain. I personally don't see him as a villain. He's the people's champ, right?
He's the people's champ. The dude was freaking Maui, for crying out loud.
So my whole thing is it didn't ruin it. It just gave the exclamation point. It's like there's no saving it. One person cannot save a franchise. Robert Downey Jr. didn't save didn't save Marvel. He started it, but it's not like they expected it to be this big where the budget was massive and they could do whatever they want. He just started it, and he was the right person to start the job. Right?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it was a Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man movie, not Iron Man featuring Robert Downey. Right? So
right, I get it.
it was different. Now it's like he tried to do that with Black Adam. It's like it's The Rock in a Black Adam's movie. It's like no, but it needs to be the other way around.
His production studio was
his production studio was involved. His powers just very OP. Then getting Superman side and him begging him and stuff. I spoke about it last year. Check out our previous episodes. All I can say is this is the best direction for DC, and the best thing for DC is not to focus too much on leading on to the next event. The best to do, same world, one story, and the most if you want to, you could reference it in the next movie. That's it. But it doesn't have to lead on to the next, the next, the next, the next. We don't need to do that.
I've said this, and I've said this for 10 years already because it's been 10 years since the first Man of Steel. What DC got wrong was the fact that they saw the popularity of what Marvel was becoming because, the first Avengers already happened, right? And I think their worst thing was to ever compete with what Marvel was doing instead of focusing on their own stuff, and which they try to do. They tried to give their own feel to it. They tried to give it their own flavor, their own tone, their own. It's supposed to be more dark. It's supposed to be more adult, but even then, you already knew that this was leading up to the Justice League, and we saw that. We definitely did see that. We saw that with Batman, Superman, Dawn of Justice. We saw that with Wonder Woman. We've seen that already. So I think that was the biggest mistake that the DCEU has done. And
I guess my last thing is I always thought DC could always and will always be Marvel in TV shows.
Yeah, without question.
So that's why I think their bread and butter is in. And
I love Smallville.
I'm glad that they are focusing. Smallville was great until like season 7.
Until they ruined it. Until they ruined it.
Then The Flash was great until they ruined it. Arrow was great until they ruined it. CW11, they like to ruin
messing
things.
With his sister, you weirdo.
So no. Anyways,
Green Arrow was tight.
Peacemaker, her was a great show. Amanda Waller, she's getting her own spinoff. Viola Davis sticking to her or with her character should be very interesting. The Green Lanterns are getting a TV show, HBO S style. I think it's very episodic. It's gonna be really interesting. Swamp Thing getting another TV show. I hope this time we get to season 2.
What Green Lanterns are we getting?
All of them. It's
Sick.
each Green Lantern is going to have their own episode, and then it leads
sweet.
into one big event.
Ooh, who's gonna be Jon Stewart?
That's a great question. I see. That's the one. See, you're excited for that one because it makes sense. It doesn't make sense if you're making a Green Lantern movie featuring Ryan Reynolds. So you know where they want to be Marvel. Okay, fine. You're right. You're right. All right. You know where they want to go. They know what works. They just copy and paste Marvel, and then everybody's looking at them. It's like, where's the magic? Where's the magic? And anyways,
whoa! I just thought of something.
Yeah.
How come Green Lantern wasn't in Justice League movie?
Probably had no job for him to do. That's kind of the number one thing about like when you're writing a character, and this is why a lot of people would say Star Wars Episode 6 is kind of a weak film because Han Solo had nothing to do, and it would be best if his character died.
You know what's crazy? I had a conversation with my dad about Star Wars, right? But specifically about which is the better sequel in cinema, right? And I said Empire Strikes Back or Godfather Part 2. And he said easily without hesitation, he said Godfather Part 2. And he looked at me and he goes, "That's not even the best Star Wars sequel." I'm like, "What's your favorite one?" He goes, "Return of the Jedi." I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, maybe like the first 30 minutes, last 20 minutes, that's the good movie. Everything in the middle sucked. But I won't say sucked. It was just like not.
I asked him, I was like, "Dad, were you just horny for that film? Did you just like, well, you could be honest." And he's like, "No, it's just a better film. It's a epic grand conclusion." I'm like, "See, you're thinking about the ending, okay? You're thinking about how it ended, all right? You think about all that stuff. You're not really thinking about the middle and the Ewoks and all." He's like, "I like the Ewoks." We gotta also understand, like, my dad was young when the movie came out, so he has more of an attachment.
But also, it fit the culture that then because all those type of movies had the little, they got like Gremlins and Goonies. That's the area. That's the era that like things will never get. But it is what it is. I perfectly get it. I get it, but no.
I get it, dude.
But no. So like I said, I'm glad DC is understanding that the bread and butter is TV shows, and they should double down and focus on it. They're connected to HBO, so call HBO's like got any writers around that reads comic books. We saw what you did with Watchmen, so it's like we could do that for other shows as well.
But also, Bastion, it's DC always has really good animated movies, right?
They're
it's
good 6 and 7s. They're good 6 and 7s.
Yes, they're good 6 and 7s. So like my thing is, why don't they just harness that and try and make that into like maybe just a live action or just do animated movies? Like you can do this on the big screen here, okay? If stuff like Spider-Man has showed us anything and like Killing Joke has showed us anything, you can. It's okay to use animation and not make it be seen as childish.
My whole thing about animation, and this is gonna sound like it doesn't really sound me. I'm like more into being creative. But if you're animating something, I would recommend to go bar for what the book, and trying to change it was the worst thing you could do. So in my opinion, if you want to make the Killing Joke, you should have never added those extra like 20 to 30 minutes of like plot device that was just kind of ruined the movie. But I understand what you mean. I wholeheartedly agree with you. And let's see what they do in the future. And also, I don't think it'll be like a waste of time and money like Marvel films are, where I don't feel like watching the next Ant-Man. I'm hoping that they'll just speed it up and put it in Disney Plus immediately.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, man. It's becoming a chore now. I'm getting marveled out.
I will only watch it if everybody, like 2 weeks after it comes out, that everybody said it's the best thing ever.
You know it's not going to be the best thing ever.
Then that's
I just
fine.
want to see
That
Kang the Conqueror.
and
That's
that's
it.
fine.
I want to see Jonathan Majors. That's it. I don't care about Scott anymore.
I'm
That's not why we watching this film.
watch
We seen
watch Creed
Kang.
3 then. Watch Creed 3.
That's coming out in March, I think. Right?
Yeah,
That's coming
March
out in
3rd.
March.
March 3rd. Yeah,
Speaking of boxing,
yeah.
guess what movie's coming out, bro? There's a George Foreman biopic coming out, bro. I'm not kidding. Swear to God, Regal just announced it. There was a poster and everything.
Who
George Foreman
is he?
biopic.
Is he? Is he co-producing it?
Not that I know
I
of.
hope
I
so.
don't know. I just saw the poster. I don't know if he's, if he gave his little 1-2 in it. I know it's talking about his boxing career. Do we get into George Foreman grills? I so hope
No,
so. Okay.
that's the only direction to go.
You damn right.
There's-
That'll be a huge disservice if they just like end his career and like that's the
no,
movie.
the last
I would be
45
pissed off.
minutes gotta be like
Yeah.
if it's a 2 hour 30-minute movie, the last 45 minutes is George Foreman grill. All right.
Exactly. Like you're gonna see his fight with Ali in Africa. Like you're gonna see that. You're gonna see how he got his ass knocked out at the end. I
I
guess.
guess I don't want to
And
watch that movie then.
I mean,
Put it
yeah,
on
that's
TV, straight to
Ali.
stream, straight to stream. As I said, most things should be straight for your TV. Invest in the better TV. Invest in some speakers. Invest in a 65-inch TV 10 feet away from your couch, all right? 10 feet or 12.
See, it's thoughts like that, and it's the attitude like that. Why the Regal over in 14th Street Union Square is going to be closing down soon. Okay,
It
it's
was
because of that.
dusty. Close all movie theaters. Turn them into parks. I don't know. Anyways, close all bad movie theaters. Only keep the good ones. We need ones with good surround sound speakers for Oppenheimer when that comes out. I want to hear all explosions in multiple dimensions. Anyways,
Yeah, I am looking forward to that one. I'm looking forward to see that movie.
let's get into the next song of the week so we could discuss
Sure.
music.
Yes, I've been waiting to discuss this album for the longest time.
All
What's
right.
what's the song?
So the song is Lil Yachty, The Ride. And we will discuss Lil Yachty's album right after this.
That was Little Yachty with The Ride off of his latest album, Let's Start Here. And bashing this album right here has been making a lot of waves. A lot of people are having their think pieces on it. A lot of people are shocked at the new sound of Little Yachty. But before we get into this album, let's just talk about how Little Yachty got his rise to fame. And I'll never forget this because one day, there was a certain fashion show, of a man who I shall not name, of a certain clothing line that was very popular. It still is popular, and he happened to be one of the models there. You know what I mean?
You can name
And
them. Don't be no punk.
fine then. It was a Yeezy season back in like 2016.
Yeah.
He befriended Kylie because Kylie played his song one night, and because of that he became a model in the Kanye West season. It was like 3 or something. I don't know.
For the Life of Pablo, Madison Square
Yeah.
Garden, iconic.
Yes.
Can't forget.
Iconic.
I
Iconic
went to the
indeed.
movie theater to see that. Anyways, yeah. Lil Boat
Yeah.
One, that mixtape.
Lil Boat One, very very iconic indeed. And ever since then, Yachty has been on an up and down trajectory within his career. Some people like him, some people didn't like his sound, some people found his music annoying, some people enjoy his music. And sometimes he's made really good verses. I remember the verse that he did on Donda. I thought that was pretty tight. It was okay, okay. I don't know if you remember that track. Okay, okay, I'm not okay. That track, I thought it was pretty good. And then he dropped this record right here. Let's Start Here.
Yeah.
And
Well, before that, it's like Lil Yachty. He's an American rapper, singer, songwriter, record producer. He's done 4 albums before this particular one, and he's been around. And he has a lot of songwriting credits as well. So
yes,
it's not like he's up and disappeared at that one shot hit one single and disappear. Like he's been in the industry, he's making moves,
right.
And
He's the Ghost City Girl, people.
yeah,
That's right.
and
Real ass bitch, give up about it. Yeah, that's Lil Yachty. Okay, he wrote that. He was even in the video telling what's her Carisha what to do.
yeah, and I thought, as you said, yeah, let's get into the album right now. And this
Sure.
this one is a album change where you could compare it to the likes of when Kid Cudi tried to do what he tried to do in Speed and Bullet to Heaven, or when Lil Wayne tried to do what he tried to do for Rebirth. Well,
Yeah.
Rebirth isn't a great album. It did help music push into what it is today, especially for rappers. Okay, it opened the lane. It wasn't good, but it created an avenue.
Okay.
It in terms of like being psychedelic rock, not shifting into something similar to like electro pop music, like you could say with Kanye and 808 and Heartbreaks, but literally jumping to the other side of another genre, which is very difficult to do,
Hmm.
almost risky.
Career suicide.
It's almost career suicide, but it's kind of easier to do it in today's because we have the internet and things kind of last a little longer compared to if you try to do that in the 80s. Uh, but yeah, this one is a very interesting funk psychedelic rock album. So,
Yes.
Gio, what's your initial thoughts before we try to analyze it a little bit?
Um, you want to give me all right, so I've been waiting to do this because I've seen what a lot of critics have been saying. I've been seeing what the Twitter sphere verse has been saying, and then here's my honest opinion of this album, right? Um, so the track starts off with Black Seminole, right? And hearing that record, I was a bit taken back because it was something that I did not expect to hear from Lil Yachty, right? Um, and it reminded me a little bit of when I first heard Me and Yo Mama from Childish Gambino off of Awaken My Love. Because as someone who likes psychedelic rock and like the Pink Floyd and Parliament Funkadelic and listening to disco and of course he used sounds of Tame Impala as well. It was definitely like a pleasant surprise to hear him on this type of record and hear all that different just instrumentation just work so well and his vocals on that particular opening just so it it was one of those few times where I was like, damn, you know what? Like vocally, like it actually makes sense for him to have those kind of vocals. So it was like this 7 minute climactic beginning already off the rip. It puts you in that world of okay, this is what this album's going to be about, and I got excited on listening to the rest of it. The problem is for me though, I enjoyed the instrumentation. I enjoyed I enjoyed the music. I enjoyed the transitions. However, for me, there's some songs where vocally it just works, and then there's some where it just doesn't. And that's where I'm at with the album. I know a lot of people love this album, but and I appreciate the fact that hey, if this is the first album that you hear that gets you into this genre, cool. I'm not even saying this is a bad album because it's not a bad album. I would be a hater if I'm saying this is a bad album. I just think y'all are making this thing a little bit overrated. That's just me personally. So, for example, first track, Black Seminole. You got
Wait,
no
wait, wait.
problem.
We don't analyze it just yet. I want to throw
Sure,
my opinion before
sure.
we.
What are your thoughts?
um, you hit me up. You said I gotta listen to it. I was already going to listen to it.
Okay,
I was just trying to find time and headphones. Some of my normal necessities to listen to music, I don't have it at the moment because my other
got it.
earbuds broke. So I'm buying new stuff. Should be getting it tomorrow. But I was listening to my AirPods and on my like speakers on my TV. So initial reaction, interesting. As Gio said, I agree with Gio's first statements. Interesting. Sonically was not what I was expecting. We're big fans of Tame Impala and those type of indie rock music. So any guitar strings and nice synths. You're gonna have a good time, especially when you're
Yeah.
singing with the pushing progression of the track. Sounds very good.
MGMT sounds as well there.
It
MGMT influences.
sounds very good. Um, for me, when I was listening to it, the vocals were a bit weird for me, but I'm used to
Mhm.
Yachty's voice. I always thought his voice was very unique and interesting the way he does it, because he's not trying to. There's ways to just rap like a rapper. He doesn't try
Right.
to do that, and I applaud him for keeping true to himself, which he did in this album. Which I will have to give him points because it feels more genuine that way, because you could make this album instrumental wise and think like, oh, he's trying to be a carbon copy of another artist, but this feels a little bit realer to me because of how
Right.
he's singing and how he's allowing like some auto tunes to ride and some of his inflection, even the way he writes his lyrics in the album. So,
This isn't honestly a Nevermind.
I can't call it overrated because I think on the first listen, I will call it overrated. But
Okay.
as you listen to it and really get the music and get Yachty and get what he's trying to do, I see him as a talent that understands in order to get what you need, you have to hire other talents.
Mhm.
If you want to make psychedelic funk music, you have to actually hire the people that know how to do it. Don't just go try it, do it yourself, and call one people to help you. Kid Cudi, Sweet and Bullet to Heaven. That's an
Right.
example. Kid Cudi Wizard is another example of just like three people making a project trying to make rock music. It's okay. It's okay, right? It's like it's okay. We're not, but you have the money and the budget to talk to find these people. This is the things that people were complaining about Drake. Drake has the
Yeah.
money, the swagger, he has everything to find these
That
to
Terry was saying.
to get like 10 producers on a track and do some my not we're not asking for My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, but you're saying use the same budget and you're gonna have some crazy tracks, right? What was it like? My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy cost $1 million to make. There's 20 people on each production, every violin chord change and stuff. Call these people. They will take the job. They will love to help you create a real beautiful, multi layered, talented record. Like it's there. You are an artist that are able to reach out to these people. So I just want to name the production work from Chairlift member Patrick Wibberley, Unknown Mortal Orchestras, Jacob Portrait, Justine Raisin, Nick Hakim, Madeline Bay, vocals from Daniel Caesar, and we'll get into the features later. But that's kind of what you could do with music when you have the budget and you also have like the means. That's why I can't say it's overrated because of what he did. If he, like I said, if he did it, what Kid Cudi did, it's like, oh, it's me and my friends. We learned how to play a guitar, and we're giving you these tracks. Like, thanks for a 27 track album, Kid Cudi, where the last 5 ones are demos. Thanks, bro. Not just in Kid Cudi, but I'm just showing the difference between what's overrated and how it could sound like compared to this. And that's kind of how I separate the two. Did I make sense, Gio?
No, no, I understand your reasoning. I
Yeah,
completely understand your reasoning.
yeah.
Um, I'm not looking at it like that because I agree with you. This definitely does sound genuine coming from Yachty. It sounds like he took his time with it. It sounds like, he was definitely passionate about this project. This wasn't just another release. Like he said, he wanted to be taken seriously as an actual artist. And I think he's definitely accomplished that. Um, it's just that I guess I guess my thing was, and I guess this is me being a hypocrite a little bit of just looking at social media and everyone thinking this is the best album since Sliced Bread, and I'm just like, I don't think so. Like, I don't think this is album of the year worthy. I don't. Like, I enjoy the sounds. I think there's potential in here. I think he can definitely do better than this album. Um, I just I just think there's certain songs that work really well. There's songs that I go back to that I think is actually very catchy, but there's certain songs where I just don't like it at all. Like the music would be good, and then he just comes in vocally and it just
All right,
To me, it
let's get
doesn't
into
work.
it.
And then there's just certain records of a record that I would like, that I actually like, and then there's like bits at the end where I'm just like, I don't like this part, this section of the song. So like, for example,
hmm
we just played the Riot, right? I enjoyed up until the point where it's, I don't know who's featured on this.
Tezzle's touchdown.
Okay. So Tizzle touchdown when he comes in, 2, 3, and then the void, and then the boys, and then the void, and then the joy, and then the poi, and then the toy. I no, do not like that section. I
I
don't
love
like
that
it.
section
I can't stand
because you
that
said
section.
speaking of V, I'm gonna avoid. I have to avoid all my boys that are unemployed. Like no, that part was fire to me.
Oh no, he's not saying anything to me. He's just rhyming to me.
I disagree. I
I
actually
know
I
you.
chose that song because I like that part. I actually like Tezo and what Yachty was doing on that track too. I even wrote it down as my favorite track. It's like don't ask me no questions. I'm on a ride, making eye contact is suicide. When I'm alone with my thoughts, I'm terrified, and that's why I need you here by my side.
I like I
that.
like that part. I actually like that part. I just don't like the Tessie part.
I love the Tezzy part. That's why I
I
played
like.
it.
I hear you. I get it, man. Like it's not for me.
I
Okay,
feel
well,
MT riding on E, shopping a shopping spree. Feel the V as in void. Like he's just getting into darkness and being alone. Like it just gets darker
shut up.
each
B as
line.
in boy.
Yeah,
Out of
no,
here.
a shopping spree may fill the V as in void. Speaking of
As in
void, I
boy.
may avoid all my boys. That doesn't work. Is unemployed. Now I'm annoyed. All of the things I once enjoyed does not bring me joy. It just bring noise. It just bring noise. It just gets darker and darker. This is a good track. That's crazy that you're trying to diss my
I
favorite
like
track on the album.
I like the Yachty part. I just don't like the end
Ah,
part.
nah,
That's just
man.
me.
I love it.
I'm sorry. I don't. It's just no. I guess it's his vocals. It just sounds like he don't care, bro. Like that's just me. It just sounds like he don't care.
Whew. All right, let's see what else hot takes you got to say.
Sure. What else? What other tracks? Oh, the ride is cool. Running out of time, like that track as well.
It's very
What do you think?
robotic.
Yes.
I thought this was more auto tuned. He could have got all Daft Punk, Herbie Hancock for this track, and it'd be pretty fun to see.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have went all the way with the with the with the auto tune for this track. They've been really fun to see in this track. Yeah.
Yeah. So like running out of time. What are your thoughts on Pretty?
Pretty's an interesting ballad. It's funny because I was listening to the clean version originally, and I kind of like to hear Pretty clean, compared to hearing it on like the regular explicit version, because the way it's when they're cursing out the curse parts.
Yeah.
It's a pretty interesting song. Actually do like it. I actually do like it. Like I said, I prefer listening to the clean version because it sounds a little bit like it's trying, in terms of like being genuine, it's like it's trying to make a good pop record. But yeah,
What?
you don't like it
Can't
that way?
stand, can't stand this record at all.
Oh, I like it. I like it. It's the one that took the longest to grow on me. I could say that. And I heard this record like 15 times already. So,
Like I get what he's trying to do with Pretty.
hmm
Okay, like he's trying to be sensual with it and all that, but like vocally, bro, like I can't.
it
Like the
like
girl ain't gonna get wet to this song, Yachty. I'm sorry. Okay, no, not this one. Okay, all right. I don't want to hear you talking about her titties. I'm sorry. Not in that vocal, bro. Not in that vocal range that you do, bro.
I
I don't.
I
It
actually
doesn't
don't.
sound sensual.
It's not the best track, but I actually don't mind it because I learned to enjoy it. Because it's the
I
fourth
mind it.
track, so it's your
I
skip.
mind it. So
Well,
it's like the first three, cool. I'm enjoying it. I'm listening through it. I'm stomaching your guy. Like I'm cool. It when it gets to Pretty though, it kind of goes downhill from here for me.
all right, next track. I kind of skipped this
Failure.
track, the spoken word. I get it. Like even once you listen to the song 3 times, it's cool. It doesn't get the same energy as like the Frank Ocean, like
Right.
do not do marijuana. Right, that's a track.
Right. It seems like he's reading it. Like he's reading it. Like it doesn't. See, damn, I sound like I'm a hater.
It
Listen,
feels like
like,
he's closing his eyes, trying to think of something wise and smart to say. It feels like
right.
I feel like this is a freestyle of trying to be deep, but most of your deepest moments happens when you're not. In my opinion, you probably had a good conversation, so we got put on record. No one's
And he
recording, and
recreated
you
it.
try to recreate it, and it just didn't
There
sound
you
good to
go.
me.
Exactly. Especially the inflections, where he's like, huh.
Yeah,
That
it's
felt
like
that felt forced. That felt
it's
like
like
robotic. It
I
felt
I
like
could lose a
you meant to do
finger.
that.
I could lose a finger, but that's a nine. It's like, come on, man. This was
Shut
just.
up.
I would have hired someone else to write a spoken word, and like just do that part. Same energy, like same concept. Keep the failure, like talk about failure. That's cool, but nah, nah, that's a skip to me.
Failure two is a skip as well.
Yeah, yeah. No, that one's a skip. Oh, like universally. Like I get it. I heard it. Cool. Next. It doesn't really
Okay.
add anything to the album, personally.
Okay. Okay. The zone.
Yeah. Track 6.
Yes. The zone. What are your thoughts?
Home is the only I. Home is only. Well, it says home is only an idea. I fear is costumed when you wear. I see clear in the atmosphere. None of my peers were readily there. It's very interesting. This is like another darkest, lonely track where the beat and the melody keeps pushing, and a very interesting vibe. So yeah, it's another good track.
Musically, it's cool. It's cool. Is this the track that goes?
I think so, because one thing
I like that part.
I
I
did
like that section. I like the guitar riff
I
on it.
I did find interesting how the music production is on this album, and
Yeah.
it did throw me off because the way it begins doesn't normally go how it is in the middle and the end,
Right.
which is great because it's not boring. I don't think there's anything boring about this album. We could dislike a
No.
song and stuff, but something's happening and you're focused.
Yeah.
For you to dislike
Musically.
a part on a song, in my opinion, is the best thing you could tell me, because that
Okay.
means like you're paying attention. If you had nothing to say, that means it's so unforgettable. It's very forgettable.
Right. Musically, that's why I'm saying about this album. Musically, I think that was dope. I
Yeah,
like it musically.
yeah.
It's just certain sections and riffs of certain tracks where I'm just like, okay, vocally, I don't like this. Um, verse wise, I don't really care for this. But I still am I'm still able to enjoy certain parts of the music. Like there was this one track where it was just like a guitar riff in the beginning where it's like very punk-esque.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh damn, love the beginning. Love the beginning to that record. And then he comes in and goes, ah! And I'm like,
Boom, boom,
oh
boom.
no, no,
I'm assuming you're talking about track 9, where it's like a very hard bass. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually like the second part because I actually got bored by the beginning, and as the track progressed and got very like boom, 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 in terms of the bass getting really heavy, it sounded like almost trying to be like heavy metal for a second. It works. I think it worked. We're talking about track 9.
Yeah, track 9.
Uh, I've officially lost vision. I officially lost vision. Yeah.
Yes. The beginning, I thought it was a nice little build up, and then the drop happened, and then he screeched, and I thought, damn, nah, Yachty, this to me it just don't go together. Like it don't compute. Maybe I need to be on psychedelics to really enjoy this album, okay?
Nah,
Because
not this one. This one, in my opinion, maybe reading the lyrics might help you understand
maybe
where he's going with it. Because, like I said, I only call it genuine because I did deep dive. I had time to listen to this album multiple times and different times of day, morning, afternoon, night, on the plane, looking at the lyrics. I was able to really like study it. 'Cause
oh,
I was just interested to see like what is he doing. Like I
right.
said, first listen, it's like, okay, this feels like he's trying to be. We hear these fake Tame Impala bands, like, all right, this is whatever. And then I just didn't want that for him because I know he's much talented than that.
I hear you.
So,
Oh, I don't think you're gonna believe this, but my favorite track is "Drive Me Crazy."
okay, interesting.
Yeah, it's very disco esque.
Yeah,
Um,
very.
love the piano in there as well. And I just think the chorus is very catchy.
Yeah, it's an interesting track. Good feature. Featuring
Who's
Diana Gordon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Okay. I really enjoy that record. I go back to it a lot,
yeah,
actually.
that's
It
good.
it's just the chorus really gets me, and the piano chords. I enjoy that record a lot. It's the disco too.
And did you see any of the music video? Well, he only came out with like the
Oh,
teaser, and he did the music video for "Say Something,"
okay.
which I thought was a very good music video because it's him falling in love with someone that's just not ready for it. So it's like say something, say
We've all
something.
been there.
It sounds really good. I recommend seeing. I'm very interested in the visuals, what he's trying to do. He did use an AI generated cover, and I
Oh,
see a lot of people upset about that. And for me
hmm.
particularly, like listening to the album and understanding it, I probably wouldn't go that direction. But I understand why he did, because it's like a room full of like maybe a room full of people laughing at you like in the studio exec. So it's
Yeah.
very weird, and the faces are all mush and stuff. And I think
Sort of
that
reminds me of the Purge,
and
the
that
Purge mask
and
or
everybody
Smile.
and like the teeth and the way it looks in the face,
Yeah.
um, it could look. It's very weird.
Yeah, it reminds me of the movie Smile.
Interesting. So it does have like a maybe I'm gonna get a little artsy. It does have like a small Francis Bacon aspect to it, with like the way the teeth is and the way everything is all crushed up. That's probably what I would do if I were to hire someone. It's like, yo, make everything like Francis Bacon, the Pope, like 6 people, and that's it.
Mm.
Google that image. You probably seen the image in the moment before, in New York City. What else can we talk about with the album? Number track 11, which is "To Paint the Sky," sounds like the most weekend track on the album. A lot
Mhm.
of very pop vocals on this. That's probably his most pop vocals, I could say. It sound more 80s centric.
Yeah.
And should I be the Alchemist? Cool, decent songs, whatever songs. Then the Reach the Sunshine is pretty much the song that got rock people to maybe check out the album, because he
Yeah.
interpolates Daniel Caesar, who's an excellent singer who self-canceled himself into existence. But anytime he comes on to like FKA Twigs songs, he kills it. It's like, hey, this man's got talent. Why is no one really checking for him? Well, because he unchecked himself out the box. Anyways, uh,
Right.
he does Pyramid Song, which is one of Radiohead's like most iconic songs out there. So it's just very, very interesting on how he did it. It's very interesting.
So with that, Bastion, I know you're gonna recommend this album to people, and I recommend people take a listen to the album as well to make your own opinions. But what do you want to rate it?
Yeah, I think I'm okay to rate it like a good, like a really high 7.
Okay.
I do think there's so much for me to come back to, actually. So I don't be surprised if I give it a higher rating at the end of the year. It is still early in the year. It is
Right.
January, so it's always interesting to get these albums early, then compare it to the rest of the year. But like a high 7, there's a lot of great songs on it. A lot of, like I said, and I do agree. Like the first half is a little bit stronger than the second half, but there are a lot of songs in the second half that I could come back to, just like the last track, "Reach the Sunshine," track 9, track 10, and then pretty much I can't come back to this project and not feel bored. And I feel like there's more in store for me to go back to listen to it. So I am excited to go listen to it again. So yeah, I give it like a high 7.
Okay.
What
Okay.
about you?
Me, again, I enjoyed the ideas of this album. There's something here. I think Lil Yachty should stay on this wavelength, and I think he'll get better with time. Um, there's certain records that I enjoy, certain records I go back to. I respect the instrumentation. I respect some of the features. Um, but I think social media, y'all y'all made this a bit overrated for me. That's just my opinion. Um, and with that, I give this my beautiful dark twisted fantasy out of 10. 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. I get it. Which is, I think, is a good. That means it's okay.
That's fair.
I,
Yeah, it's
I think
okay.
sixes get like understated because it's like not an 8 or 10. Like tens are like
Right.
this magic piece that is really hard to attain.
Yeah, that don't happen often.
Nine is
Never.
like it's almost a 10. Then eights are like these are albums that you can listen to all year
Right.
round. And six is like
Absolutely.
it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah,
Um,
it's cool.
let's discuss two more albums before the end of the
Absolutely.
show.
Yes.
One of the albums is Ice Spice.
That's
Dot
a
dot
10.
dot. Like
That's a 10.
it is.
That's a 10.
It is a small EP that
Yes.
is literally 13 minutes long.
Yes.
Most of the songs, I think maybe two or three of the songs you've heard before.
You've
Uh,
heard them already.
Pretty much, well, like one of the tracks I played in the beginning. We played in the beginning of the show, Bikini Bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Munch is another
Yes.
in Ha Mood. Princess
Yes. She
Diana. It's like, well, what's your
gangsta.
thoughts on it? What's your thoughts and what's your vision? What's your
Oh
thoughts and what do you
man.
hope for Ice Spice?
Ice Spice is going to be. Listen, if Ice Spice has proved everything,
Mm-hmm,
she's proved that she's not a one-hit wonder.
mm-hmm.
Ice Spice is here to stay. All right. If she just continues to keep being a baddie making bops, you know what I'm saying? She's gonna be here in it for the long run. Okay. Ice Spice is going to be if Ice Spice is not in the double XL freshman list of 2023, we have a real issue. We have a real problem. Okay. Stop playing with her. Ice Spice is here. She's here to stay. And guess what? After songs like Munch and She in Her Mood, you know what she's done? She's birthed a new batch of talent for the next 10 years. So she's birthing you bitches right now, okay? Shout out to Ice Spice. She's dope. Love her music. All right. Love her videos, especially. Ice Spice is one of the realest in the game. That's how I feel.
You know what I want? I want a three verse. I want a song that's like a little over like 3 minutes to see what she could do. That's like my fake
No
complaint.
feature.
No, just over three. Yeah, no feature over 3 minutes. That's like my smallest complaint, but it's not even a real complaint. I'm just interested in to see her make. She's making some good hip hop tracks.
If it
Interested
means anything,
to see what
if
direction she's going. Will she go like the Cardi B direction? Will she go Minaj direction in terms of next album will have a little bit pop tracks in it to kind of to keep the formula going. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what she does in the future, and she got New York on her back.
that's right.
She really got the
No,
respect too. So
she did.
I don't believe in the internet trolls online, those hip hop blogs, but regular people like they do like her, and they're interested to see like
Her.
what she's gonna drop soon.
Yes, and she. The only issue is with this album is like, well, this EP is like it's six of the same
It's six
songs.
of the same
That's it,
songs. Yeah, we gotta put it somewhere.
right? But like the beats help it a lot. The beats help a lot. Okay, and
Yeah,
her nonchalant delivery it also helps too. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, Gangsta Boo featuring Lil TJ. That's a cheat code because you use "I Need a Girl" Part Two as like the main beat line for it. That's a cheat. Princess Diana was cool because she has these bitches thinking she's Princess Diana. I get it. She in her mood, you know,
very Caribbean. Actually, it's a very like I don't think she's Caribbean, right? Was she Dominican
she's
Nigerian?
Dominican and Nigerian,
Okay,
correct?
all
So
right. So Princess
technically
Diana,
Caribbean.
yeah, all right. So Princess Diana makes sense.
Yes.
Um, yeah. So that's a interesting album. EP. Check it out.
Yes.
Interested to see for the future. And another project that came out, Mac DeMarco, 5 Easy Hot Dogs. Gio, what's your thoughts on this track? These
If you
tracks.
enjoy rain music, if you need music to sleep to, if you need some sort of
Study
thing to
music.
study to,
Yeah.
study music, something in the background, this is the album for you. I don't think it's lazy by any means, but it's just gloomy ass music.
I think it falls in the wrong year. This album came out back in 2013. It'll be interesting. It's just like
Mm,
now, in this day and age, anybody could make these type of music, which kind of sucks because he kind of like pioneered the sound into
right,
making it cool and interesting. So
right.
everybody's using this to make their lo-fi girl esque music, and there's a lot out there. So when you get albums like this from like stars like him, I'm like, it's cool. I could put it on my list. But
I listened to this a lot more in the pandemic because there was nowhere to go.
yeah, exactly. I would have, I would have enjoyed this more in the pandemic. Um,
But we all saw it.
yeah, we all sigh. Hey, if any artists ever listen to this, the best direction you could go is to make instrumentals like this, but you have to have like an Aphex Twin twist to it, where it's just interesting and electric. But no one could be Aphex Twin. That's something we all tried to fail to do. But anyways, definitely check out the Mac DeMarco 5EZ Hot Dogs. There's no singing on this album whatsoever. I think it's slightly the biggest disappointment. But straight instrumentals. Maybe, yeah, no singing. Well, that's all we could say.
There's no singing. It's just instrumentals, and the reason why he made he named the tracks based on the cities because I think he was touring or whatever. So there you go. I thought he made the songs. It's either he made the songs during the tour. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's called like Vancouver and all that stuff. But also it sort of sounds like what the city would sound like, which is all gloomy and stuff because it always rains around that area. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. But other than that, this is a Black Seinfeld show about absolutely nothing. If you want to follow or find our stuff, we have the Black Seinfeld website, blackseinfeld.com. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at BlackSeinfeldNY. And if you have any requests or questions, please reach out through our email, blackseinfeldny@gmail.com. And just in case you will want to listen to our older episodes or miss any episodes before, please subscribe to Black Seinfeld Podcast, which can be found on any platform like Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Stitcher Radio, even Spotify. Follow us, share to your friends. And we're going to go out to some Mac DeMarco because it's chill vibes. It's chill vibes. Yes. So check out this track. Other than that, we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.